welcome to our regular podcast, Knowledge Empowers. As always, with you is me, Kat. 안녕하세요. Then we have Baruch.
Hello, hello, hello.
And we have Kolaj.
Dobré ráno. Good morning, everyone. Welcome.
I wish that some of the bloopers or the silly stuff we do, we could put into the listening podcast. But as we are doing it with faces, it's not possible.
I will include the ones that we did today for YouTube version.
Wow. Uh-oh. That's when it's too early morning and we are just overly crazy.
I would like to introduce a new part of the podcast. And in every other podcast, starting from now on, you will hear 3 interesting facts around the world, around us, around the nature, something what is interesting. So starting for today, I have here first that when seeing colors, we as humans, we perceive mostly green, or the most shades we can discover or see is the green. It's because our eyes were developed in this way so that we can discover which leaves and fruits are good. If it's like, imagine banana, if you see the banana is too green, it's not ripe yet and you can't eat it. So that's why our predecessors developed this mechanism to discover which actually leaves and which of the plants and fruits are eatable.
Mm-hmm. So is it more? Do we perceive most shades of green compared to other animals, or is it compared to other colors?
In this case, it's in humans compared to other colors. So it's not the other animals, because, and we can share that later on, bees can see much more colors to see which flowers to go to. So that will be a different one.
Okay.
Oh, smart bees. We are so smart.
So we have 2 more to go. So what are the other 2?
Yeah. So the second one is that if you think about how we trust strangers, would you say, do we believe more or less in the past years?
My argument would be that more, because we used to live in smaller groups, so we would be more distrustful to people outside of them because we would meet less of them, I guess.
Yeah, so there was a study of about 500 studies, so a meta study, for the past 61 years, because there was this assumption that we trust less because of this bipolarization and media and everything like that. But the meta study showed that in the US, all those studies were in the US, is that we trust slightly more strangers than less, actually. So it's having the opposite tendency.
That's dangerous.
we
we are lowering our walls.
That's actually good.
Well, depends, because you can do it just according to your bias and like first impressions. So
Yep. Yeah. And then you will end up like the lady from Topolchany who will send 100,000 euros to an American soldier in disguise, some stranger who pretends to be in need, and so
that's why I'm saying it's dangerous.
Well, I think that in this case it's stupidity that is dangerous, not trusting a stranger. And the third one, it's about Switzerland and guinea pigs. I'm not sure if you knew, but for the past, since 2008 or something like that, it's illegal to own just 1 guinea pig. You need to have 2 all the time.
So if I have 2, is it assumed that I'm a scientist or something? I don't know.
No, it's that the animal people force the law here because guinea pigs are really social animals and they suffer when they are alone. So of course that all the owners, any owner, if they want to own a guinea pig, they need to own at least 2.
It's so
1.
cute.
And that's it for today.
Fun fact.
Goodbye. So this is the end of the podcast. No.
If you liked it, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and leave us a comment. And with that, you can see we started with absolute joy. We continue with absolute joy. And that's the topic of today's podcast is the joy.
Yeah, true. So, Baruch, what can you tell us about joy?
It's happiness.
Good.
I tell you guys a story. And when I was 30, hubby bought me as a birthday present a drive in Ferrari. Mm-hmm. And after, and I was driving the Ferrari on airport, and I had like 30 minutes. And after, when I finished the drive, I went out of the car. Not only that I have been sweating so much, but I literally was jumping like 2 meters with that absolute joy and happiness. Like for at least like 20 minutes, I was just jumping and smile from ear to ear. And I was like, it just went like out of me. And Michal was just laughing at me like he couldn't believe like what he sees. And because this was like in a different town, almost like 100 kilometers from here, I was like, I'm driving back. And Michal was like, no, you're not driving back because you've just been driving such a fast car. But guys, after these 20 minutes of me, of that pure joy and jumping, it literally, I sit down in the car, Michal start driving. And in 2 minutes, it just knocked me out and I fall asleep. That was my pure happiness. That was one. And the second story at college, you were there when I had my first art show, remember? And you said that you've never seen me that happy as you seen me at that time. So I invited closest friends, but also made sure that there wouldn't be a person not knowing at least one more person. Unfortunately, Baruch was still in China, but she was still part of it because she created the invitations, right? And I really felt the utmost or utter happiness there as well with the people I love the most, the art I created, my family. It was just unbelievable feeling. And it lasted until like minimum of till evening. It didn't drain me from energy as the Ferrari drive, but oh my God, I was so happy.
Kat, would you expect it would make you so happy, these two situations?
No. And even I think it was you, Kolaj, who told me I've never seen you this happy before in my life. Either you or Fisher, one of you two told me like I've never seen you this happy. I didn't expect that. I was just like literally preparing for the art show, preparing the art, preparing the refreshment, making sure that everyone who confirmed that will come and they have that friend. So I'll make sure also to introduce them. I was focusing on these parts. I did not know that the whole surrounding and the whole situation will bring me such a joy. I never even dreamed of it. But that was my really, I would say those two were my ultimate happiness I've ever felt, that I can still remember like fully. Except that the one drained me out of energy and the other one filled me with energy, which is also interesting to compare. It's the same emotion, but different outcomes.
I feel like the first one with Ferrari is, I think maybe you felt a little bit drained also because of adrenaline.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. The adrenaline was there, a huge part. It's also, of course, you realize when you watch the F1 drivers or any racing drivers that when they finish the race, the first thing usually they do, they grab like a bottle of water and they drink like the whole water like in one go. Mm-hmm. And I was like, how is that even possible, you know? But once I finished this, I drank the whole bottle because I sweated everything out and like I was so thirsty. Of course, my adrenaline was, I don't know, that's why I was even jumping because of all of that. So yeah, but afterwards, like ting, fall asleep. Do you have any story like that you remember utter joy?
From my side, it would be actually you, kid, and your hubby when you took me both for a motorbike ride. So I actually, you know how I went into that, like I would never sit on a motorbike and it's so dangerous that I would be probably feeling fear all the time. And we were talking already about the fear in our previous podcast. So you can check that episode. But in this situation, I'm happy to say that actually, again, this was really unexpected feeling of joy coming from that situation. So yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for that experience.
With that, I'm gonna bring Baruch even more joy. We are taking her on a motorbike ride. Again. And Kolach still can't remember anything after all these years.
Yeah, I mean, I do have moments of happiness, you know, or like when I'm happy, like playing a video game, or you know, when we bought a car or bought the apartment or something like that. There was happiness present. It wasn't at the level you were describing. Like I would be jumping out of pure joy or something. That didn't. I don't think I have such a moment. Like recall. I am not able to recall such a moment. I'm happy. I have happy memories. You know, getting a present, going there, meeting these people and stuff like that. But it's not the
Other.
Yeah.
When you saw me, because you were there with me on the art show, Baruch has asked whether we can get the joy out of someone else. Were you able to feel it with me? Or let's say, was I contagious, you know, like my happiness towards you? Or you were just happy that I was happy, but not on that level?
Like all the emotions are contagious because we are automatically empathetic. We are automatically empathic towards other people, and we are mirror neurons, so they mirror what's around there. So definitely, when you're happy, I don't recall that situation too much, or that particular night. It wasn't that important for me, you know. So it was more important for you, so it stuck with you more. I definitely don't remember any bad vibes. So for that particular moment, I can't say that I felt happy, whether it was because of you, just because of you, I can't say that, or I wouldn't be able to say that because there were other people and the surrounding environment influences the mood a lot. So I can say that the environment was really positive. We were feeling happy and joyful. We had really good discussions there, and we left the evening with good memories, with happy memories. But I can't say that you were the only source of it, you know, like so.
Good, but it's at least we know that the emotions are projectable, right? So
they are.
So guys, try to be surrounded by happy people. Where there is laughter, where there is fun. Stick your head in like, hello, can I just sit here?
Yeah, you can be careful about the mood of the others. If they are totally somewhere else, like if they are angry and then they're really happy, it may not be that contagious. You know, you may not make them happier when they're angry or sad. It may be counterproductive in that case. So be careful when and where.
So you can change the situation to go away from the surrounding of grumpy people. And change it to people who are goal oriented or more happier, because that it will make your life much easier, and you will realize it a little bit later that wow, my emotions are more in control versus before I felt more anxiety or anxious, and it could be only because of you just keep hearing grumpiness and complaints, etc.
Especially if you are that goal oriented happy person. If you're not, just stay with your grumpy friends. Yeah.
If that makes you happy, why not? Right? Is there anything else you can tell us, Mr. Kolach, about the feeling of joy? Any biology stuff or psychology stuff You know,
Well,
the
there is-
science.
Well, there is a lot to talk about, but in general, there are 4 hormones which are causing happiness. A few
Oh.
of those we already named. Or not, they are not really hormones; they are neurotransmitters. Most of them.
Okay.
So there is this dopamine, which you talked about, adrenaline or epinephrine. That one is also causing happiness, and then there is serotonin and oxytocin. Dopamine and adrenaline, those are the momentary hormones of happiness. Because when you check your notifications, when you finish your work, or when you eat the chocolate, that's when the dopamine kicks in. When you're running a long marathon, when you're doing some sport, that's when the adrenaline comes in, and they make you momentarily happy. And there is serotonin and oxytocin. So those are the hormones of a long-term happiness. That's when you're hugged, when you are loved, when you're with your friends, when you are excited, when you're achieving your goals. Those are the oxytocin and serotonin kicking in when you're happy out of these. And these are the long terms.
And what about the endorphins?
That's
That we
the
use-
adrenaline. That's the adrenaline.
Okay.
Endorphins are adrenalines. So those are the things which makes you momentarily happy. And if you don't have these, you get to the opposite of the scale of happiness. You get to sadness. So if they're not present, you can develop depression and stuff like that. So that's the other scale.
Is there a healthier to support some of these neurotransmitters, like the long-term ones, or is it just it doesn't matter which way you get happy?
I would like
It
to
does
say,
matter.
yeah, it does matter because you don't want to do drugs because of the dopamines, or you don't want to
Okay.
have Instagram and collect likes just to get the dopamine kick. So avoiding all these addictive behaviors is what matters here. That's why I rather go for friends, or meeting people, or being with the people, being loved, than having those goals, achieving the goals, being praised, giving and receiving recognition. That's all how you build the long-term ones. It's not, you need to have dopamine, of course. You need to have adrenaline. So trainings, exercises are necessary as well. Just be careful with those, because these short-term ones can get you addicted to something, like the trainings.
I don't know what you are talking about. What?
Yeah.
Who?
So that's the thing. Create the relationships you want, and that will get you your long-term happiness.
You've mentioned 4. 2 of them are also addictive, even though we need them, but they are if you go overboard. Now, you spoke the science. How can you connect it to workplace? How can we gain long-term happiness, right? So the serotonin and the other one at work. Is it possible?
We can start with the first 2, dopamine and adrenaline in work. Those will be there dopamine will be there when you are doing your check marks in time management. So you have your checklist and you finish a task. That's when the dopamine kicks in. When you get your bonus salary, that's when the dopamine kicks in, because you got the reward. When you get some other benefit, that's when the dopamine kicks in and makes you happy for the moment. So
Can I jump in here?
Mm-hmm.
So that's usually, and it took me a while to learn. Most of the times when I was much younger, I said what makes me happy is the salary increase, but that happiness always lasted maximum 3 months, right? That was the max. And then you were back where you were before. And this is the reason that it makes you happy only for that period. That happens and then it's gone. But we want something long term.
Yeah, but we are starting with some of those. And it's also a guide for, for the managers or for the leaders here to know how to make their people happy, because it may be that you have a high workload, and a long period of high workload when people are really stressed, anxious about the workload they need to finish. They take long period of working time instead of, like the usual shift, they take much more time. So you can intervene with some short-term, solution at that case and bring pizzas. That's why everybody's pizza about it. That's a reward. I can eat it, and eating again triggers dopamine. So that's why if your people are anxious, bring something into the office which can give you this short-term boost.
That's really unhealthy, being anxious and then eating unhealthy food.
Bring them salad.
It could be a salad, it could be a fruit, and it's about the team basically here, and they can through this experience, and they wouldn't be just eating because they will be socializing as well together because they're eating the food together. So, but you create this small moment of joy in the long period of anxiety and high workload. So that's how you can let the people breathe a bit and slow down the tempo. When it comes to adrenaline, going with the stairs, walking the stairs will give you some adrenaline.
I thought you will say screaming manager.
Yes, screaming at the manager. Really, having a conflict in the office can raise your adrenaline levels. High period of workload will do this as well.
So now that you are mentioning that, is adrenaline really creating happiness?
It is.
Because these situations do not sound very happy to me.
They don't, and at the same time, they will create sort of a happiness because when you have some task to do, which you need to deliver, you start really focusing on the task, your adrenaline level gets up, but at the same time, you reach a state called flow. When you're really focused on a task which you're supposed to perform, and that could happen to you as well, suddenly you somehow lose the track of the time, like how the world is moving around you. The only sole purpose of you being there is being with the task and finishing the task and doing the work you're supposed to do. And that's when you reach sort of a trance-like state. And that's what brings happiness here.
So you don't need to meditate, you just need to learn to work.
You need to meditate because meditation brings you a different perspective or a different thing. This is just you focusing on a task, but meditation, or I rather like mindfulness here, brings you back to your body, how you perceive situation, what you feel, what you taste, and everything like that. So that's a different, you are the focus, not the task. So that's a different level of awareness. So again, you as a leader or you as an employee or worker, go for it could be the hard task which gives you adrenaline because that pushes you forward, moves you forward also in your career. If you do some hard task which you haven't been trained for, it definitely will make you a bit anxious, a bit stressed. But again, it will move you forward somewhere. You will learn and you experience new knowledge and stuff like that.
And then those the long terms, like the serotonin.
Yeah, long terms, and so serotonin, oxytocin. Serotonin is all about the achievements, about status. So you want to be better, be more important in the community you are. So there goes the appreciation. So when you receive an appreciation and recognition that, oh, this helped me a lot, thank you, that's when your serotonin kicks in because you are important in the community. Having goals set properly, knowing what you want to achieve, achieving it, checking out your goals and okay, I achieved that, or I'm moving forward to that, getting these appreciation, recognitions, giving them, it's the serotonin there.
So in this case, would simple to-dos, daily to-dos, nothing very long-term, would it help to raise the serotonin level?
Yeah, every activity you do towards this can help you to raise or have the serotonin within your body. Having the goals, going forward, that's when your serotonin kicks in. So when you are appreciated, mostly when you are appreciated, when you are told that you are doing a good job. So it's mostly about, it's more also about having the other people telling you that. So it's mostly about you receiving the recognition. So others should be aware of how to do it as well, not just you. But you can be the example and lead the way, That's the thing.
So what about the oxytocin then?
And oxytocin is about the relationships. So it's when you have these friendships, in the work environment and you build them actively. So when you go for beering, when you appreciate someone else, you tell somebody, hey, thank you. That's when your oxytocin kicks in. When also physical touch is there. So hugging, if it's possible in the environment, working space, that's, I think, based on your best judgment. Okay, so do it.
If you are in US, don't do it.
Be careful with that.
If you are in Italy, France, do it.
I think that you need consent for that. So be mindful about it. But a handshake could be a good way how to do it politely, in the most polite way, I think. So touch is creating also this sort of bond between people.
Now you've learned many things, and we connected the joy with the hormones as well to get to know your body, get to know your psyche, how that all works. So with that, I'm gonna say 수고하셨습니다.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye. Čaute.
Strihnúť to aj tak budem musieť, to je jedno, kedy začneš.
Jak vidíš, Baroš, ešte si nadoksleduj, či máme dobré svetla, hlasy.
Ja, vidíš, áno, ďakujem za pripomienku.
Vlasy. Či máme dobré vlasy?
Tam som ešte nepostúpila na ten level. Katka sa prezliekla, ok, check.
Check, áno, učeš sa, check. Prosím ťa, ten chumač vlasov tam si rozčeš. Na podcast.
Oh, that's very good, Katka.
Haló.
No, kto vie, aké má to rameno? Dobre. A koláč je dobré. Hej, už je to lepšie, že už viacej z toho trupu vidno, ako že máš...
Trupík!
Hranicu, že ako 5-ročný.
Urobme všetci toto. Taký thumbnail.
Dobre, už máme zase ďalšie bloopers.
3, 2, 1.
This podcast represents our own opinions, experience, and our own ideas. We do not represent any official statement from our employers, and this is not their official channel representing the company.